Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all keeping well. Spurs ruined the party at St James's Park. Newcastle United 2, Tottenham Hotspur 3. Lots of positives from today's game. Spurs up to 5th, believe it or not. Only 4 points away from top spot. Goals from Ndombele, Harry Kane and Heung-min Son. Assists from Reguilon, Højbjerg and Kane. A good team performance. Ndombele completing 90 minutes. And lots of positives, as I say. There wasn't a medical emergency during the game. Wishing the Newcastle fan all of the very best. But from what we know and from what we believe and what we've been told, he has been stabilised and hopefully will get a speedy recovery. I've got 3 very special guests with me. I've got Frank, Ricky and Anthony. Frank, let's start with you. Your thoughts on today's game?
Well, firstly, I'd like to congratulate really and give huge props to Eric Dier and Reguilon for how they reacted to obviously what happened in the crowd. Football aside, obviously that's the most important thing. So that was different class to have noticed that and the urgency that they took matters into their own hands, particularly Eric Dier rushing over to the bench, getting the correct help was brilliant. So I truly hope that fan makes a speedy recovery. But lots of positives today, Chris and boys. For me, I know it was 3-2. The scoreline absolutely flattered them. And I just think there's so many positives from individual performances and the team as a whole to take from today's game. That's back-to-back wins after going from behind, which, as we know, it's not always the case with Spurs. We can be very shaky when put under pressure. So it's something to build on. Back-to-back wins is huge, and we've got a huge proper test for me next week away at West Ham. So it's good to go into that game with back-to-back wins and up to 5th in the table. So very, very, very positive from a team performance aspect.
Anthony, let's come to you. Now, Frank says there, positivity. Lots of positives from today's game. What did you make of it?
Yeah, first of all, Chris, want to say I hope the Newcastle fan is safe and well. I think as coming what Frank said, what Eric Dier and Reguilon did was amazing. And obviously we're going to talk about the mighty Spurs in a minute, but life is far more important than football itself. So I wish him a speedy recovery. Positives from the game. Tanguy Ndombele, unbelievable today. Brilliant. That's what we've been waiting for. Well, for me personally, for the last 3 seasons. So I think that was probably his best game for us today. He controlled that midfield, broke the lines, unbelievable passing. He was brilliant today. Absolutely superb. Dier and Romero as well, immense. Obviously, a couple of mistakes that led to their goals, which was unnecessary, but it was squeaky bum time the last 5 minutes, but we held off, we done well, and we take 3 points and we sport their party. So I'm delighted.
And we've also got Ricky Champagne Norwood. Got the nickname on the last show, Ricky. Got the champagne flowing today?
Mate, it's on ice. It's on ice. All right. While we're doing this, we're gonna let it chill, and by the time we finish, I'll be popping that champagne. Don't you worry. Don't you worry. But yeah, I had to get the old nickname in today because, I got blessed with it in the last show. So, yeah, there you go. Bro, today, you know what? I wanted to see intent and I wanted to see integrity. And you know what? I saw both of those things today. Early goal, we got caught sleeping in the first couple of minutes, but it was always going to be like that. Me and the boys were saying in the old group chat earlier, they were saying more than me, but they were saying the first 20 minutes is vital to be not concede and hopefully we score an early goal. But they done what they done and they scored that first early goal. And I think you, me and everyone at home, we just put our heads in our hands and went, here we go. Do you know what I mean? With all the Dr. Tottenham tweets going about and everything like that, we know, innit? We know as a Spurs fan, sometimes it's just against us. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes the energy is just against us. But our intent was massive. Do you know what I mean? After we went that 1 goal down, we woke up and we went to work. And, it was a turbulent first half, but we ended up being, 3-1 up in the first half. So, and Tanguy was, immense. And I saw the integrity from the boys as well, not only in picking themselves up and pushing for the win and not letting their heads drop after the first goal conceded, but also, like the boys have already mentioned, with Dier and Reguilon and those boys that their response and the quickness of their response to kind of get the appropriate help and action, regardless that we was on the attack at that time. So our boys showed a lot of integrity to be able to go, hold tight, let's work out what's happening with the fan. The fan needs help. You know what I mean? And even if that meant suspending the game at that point, you know, just putting a little kind of, you know, an extra break in for those boys. But to see him bring it all together today, you know, there was no need for that own goal. It just made us all nervous, and we was all like, "Oh, please don't let it happen. Do not let it happen." But we made it happen. We made it happen. We controlled the game for I don't know how long. We had the possession, we had the passing, we had the intent, we had like the intelligence. Apart from Dier, we won't speak about it. No, I'm only joking. I'm
do you know, Ricky,
super happy that we got the 3 points.
We had Anthony smiling, and then you mentioned Dier's own goal.
You know
Chris
what?
knows me too well, you know.
Listen, Chris, especially being on with these two, right? I was praying that we was going to win even more.
I know.
I was just like, I can't do it again. I can't sit here again and like defend the boys while these two go at me and go at us all. Like I was just like, no, I'm not having it.
No, do you know what? Hats off. I'll tell you what. Hats off to Oliver Skipp today. Very, very good. Very good. Yeah. He made no mistakes covering the ball, getting in good positions, giving the ball when needed to, didn't hold the ball too long, knocking the ball about. Yeah. Do you know what? He's going to be all right, that boy, man. He's going to be all right.
Frank, let's come to you. Of course, an hour before kickoff, the team lineup got announced, but half an hour before that, Tottenham Hotspur put a statement out stating about the COVID situation, and then we all learned that Heung-min Son and Brian Hill would be at Newcastle. Now, when you found out that news, and then an hour before kickoff, Heung-min Son was in that starting 11, were you filled with that little bit more confidence?
Of course, because he's probably been, you'd say, well, definitely our most clinical player this season, but he's a huge part of this team, one of the most important players. And it was good to see him and Kane today linking up. Obviously, for Sonny's goal, that was a beautiful piece of football. And we need both of them fit. We haven't actually got any cover for Kane, have we? Let's be honest, we haven't. So for Sonny as well, he's irreplaceable in that team. So hugely filled me with more confidence. It was all about how we handled the crowd today. Ironically, we didn't in the first 5 minutes, but the character we showed to get back into the game, everyone's saying it on the feed, and Answer said it. Oliver Skipp as well made 2 unbelievable covering last-ditch challenges in the first half. And we haven't obviously seen. I read something earlier. I'm not completely 100% clear on this. Chris, you'll probably know. But I think without him in the starting 11, have we only lost once when he's played or something like that this season? So he's proving to be a vital cog in this wheel for this season. And he does offer us a platform. He covers. And he actually allows Højbjerg to play what he's better at, which is more sort of box-to-box, the role he plays for Denmark, sort of pushing forward a lot more. Højbjerg's best position is not sitting in front of the back four. That is where Skippy complements him. And I think the balance between the 3 in midfield over the last 2 games has been a lot better. And, it was good to see Sonny not missing, obviously, the West Ham game next week as well, which would have been huge. So the false positive was positive for us at the end of the day. So fantastic, again, that there's no sort of problems, particularly after the last international window we had. This one was actually, in a roundabout way, quite kind to us. And I think we deserve that little bit of luck, to be honest with you.
Absolutely. Anthony, let's come to you. Let's talk about the starting 11. Hugo Lloris in goal, and in the back four of Emerson Royal, Christian Romero, Eric Dier, Sergio Reguilon. In midfield, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Oliver Skipp, Ndombele. The forward line of Harry Kane, Lucas Moura, Heung-min Son. For you, is this Tottenham's best 11?
Yeah, I think, it is. I think, obviously, going to be people that are fans of Lo Celso, for example, and it'd be like, well, why don't he play in the Ndombele role? But the last 2 games, let's go on the last 2 games because we've won them both, Villa and today at Newcastle. What I saw today was a good Tottenham side. Not brilliant, not fantastic. It was a good, solid performance. And if we can build on that and come January, all being well with transfers, we need a couple more players for sure. But what I saw today could be our strongest 11 at this present time. There's players that, shouldn't sort of start getting complacent. But if Ndombele can start producing what he produced today and just make a little bit more of a statement, which he did today, then we hopefully have a player in him and for the rest of the season.
Surely it's going to make the difference, though, Anthony, because it was exactly the same starting 11 against Aston Villa at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium before the international break. You know, we've spoke so many times, particularly last season, about our defence changing week in, week out.
Yeah.
We expected the midfield to be changing week in, week out. You know, Nuno wanted this same starting 11. He thought he had problems with the likes of Brian Hill and Heung-min Son. So it was very important to get that same starting 11 today.
Yeah, that's what it's about. I mean, Frank spoke to me this afternoon and said consistency is key. Start getting the consistency. Try and stay injury free, because we are going to get injuries. We are going to drop points. We're Tottenham Hotspur. It's in our DNA. It's what happens. But if we can keep producing what we did today and not bottle certain things, apart from the first 5 minutes where I thought it was going to be, you know, typical Tottenham performance, but the character that we show to come back from that is brilliant. And that's all we ask for. That's all I personally ask for, and I'm sure the boys do as well. It's just to show a bit of intent, and that's what we got today.
Ricky, let's come to you. Now, of course, St James's Park was absolutely buzzing today. You know, their takeover, every single fan is really enjoying the moment. And as you said earlier, 2 minutes in, you know, Callum Wilson's header, ball out to the left, played into the middle, went out to the right, cross come in, Callum Wilson, 1-0 after 2 minutes. I've no doubt that you were screaming. I know that Anthony Costa was definitely screaming about that. And it's funny because when I spoke to you a couple of days, Anthony, a couple of days ago, you said Newcastle will go 1-up. We will come back into the game, but you were confident that we would get the win. Ricky, how are you feeling after 2 minutes in?
Oh, mate. Do you know, especially because it was Wilson, and because that one over there, he called it. He called Wilson and he called Willock as well. And I was just like, come on, man. So
so did Frank, you know. So did Frank.
Oh, man.
I called Callum Wilson.
Yeah,
I was going to put a bet on. I called Wilson any time, I promise you.
It was Frank as well. I was just like, oh, come on, man. Yeah, okay, frustrated. Of course we was frustrated. And you know, when we turn up to the big occasion, and you know, it just seemed like we were just going to fall flat on our faces again. Newcastle started the game with a bundle of energy, with a drive in them. You know, they had a full house for the first time in a long time. They've got a lot to prove, not only to the manager but to the owners now. Like, if some of these players would not be at a super club, like, you know, and now they have the opportunity to, you know, build from the bottom up, like put their roots in and be like, you know, you need to count on me. Players like Willock and Wilson and St Maximum, you know, these players want to embed themselves for this new rebuild when they bring in all the super big money signings or whatever the case they're going to do. So it was an important game for them. Bruce's 1,000th game in charge of Premier League side or as manager, and so there was a lot against us going into this game. But you know, credit to the boys, because their energy levels didn't drop, their heads didn't drop. They took the challenge on their chest, and they said, "All right, and cool, well, let's go." And you know, as soon as we warmed up into the game, first I don't know what it was, 10-15 minutes. As soon as we started to get a hold of the game, it was ours for the entire time. You know, like possession. You know, every time that they broke, we double, triple manned up on St Maximum or whoever else, like Willock or whoever else was trying to run in on us. Joe Linton and St Maximum, they had the strength as well as the ability to try and buoy our defenders off. But once we kind of knew what was happening, the boys stood up. And you got to remember, a lot of these players, like, I don't know how you boys feel after a long flight, but a lot of these players have just got back. You know, like, we're not talking about jet lag. We're not talking about, you know, muscle fatigue or anything like that. Romero's just got back. Emerson has just got back. You know, so these boys done tremendous to step up to the challenge. And I was just proud of the boys. I mean, we didn't need that last 10 minutes. We really didn't need it. Because I felt to myself, like, here we go again. We're gonna punch ourselves in the gut. We're gonna be our worst own enemy. Do you know what I mean? But we saw it out. We played keep ball, which I thought was dangerous, but we done it. So yeah, man. There was loads of positives today. I was really proud of the boys today.
Listen, if you want to listen, there's so many positives, and it definitely outweighs the negatives. The only negative, and it niggled me a little bit. There was no subs. Why didn't he make any subs?
That was bizarre, considering how many players, as you said, they've been on a long. What is that? 12-hour flight from South America.
It's got to be, mate.
So your recovery is not as good because obviously you're not getting the oxygen to your muscles to recover. So
Yeah.
I was very surprised that at least Emerson Royal didn't come off, or I was shocked at that. But he has done that again. I'm not going to criticise him after today, but he has made some quite peculiar and strange decisions, Nuno, so far with us, and that was a strange one. I thought.
Yeah,
I agree.
He's also learned. But like Nuno is also, every time he's made a major mistake, he is also. I mean, and we didn't want those major mistakes, but he has also adapted and tried to learn with the team. Do you know what I mean? So maybe he wanted to solidify a starting 11 that is relied upon. You know, so I'm with you. I mean, even at 75 minutes, I think, you know, Lo Celso could have come on, Bergwijn could have come on, you know what I mean, for the last 15. But the team were doing well. And, you know, I think they said it in commentary. If Newcastle posed any real danger or put it on us, then I think he probably would have made those subs. But I think he felt that we was in total control. It's the same with Ndombele. We know that Ndombele normally comes off 60, 70 minutes max. But he kept him on. So I think he's showing confidence in his starting 11, in his first 11. And hopefully the boys take that confidence and that trust and that responsibility on, and they keep pushing forward, and we keep building on performances like this.
It's funny, that's the one player that I kept looking for around the 70-minute mark, thinking, has Ndombele gone off? And of course, for him to complete 90 minutes, I think is a real achievement for him. And of course, it's what all of us fans want to see him do. Frank, now that must be a positive. I know Nuno didn't make any subs, but to see the likes of Ndombele completing 90 minutes again, it is a huge plus for us, isn't it? Because we want to see him step up to the mark.
Massively. I said to Ant before the game that I wasn't displeased. Obviously, Tanguy causes a lot of divide of opinion amongst the fan base because of obviously the price tag, the fact that he has been inconsistent, the fact that he's wanted to leave. But I like the fact that we had back-to-back games of no changes, because we've been chopping and changing. Under Jose, we were doing the same thing. Centre-back pairings changing. It doesn't help. And it showed in these two performances, our best two of the season, in my opinion. I know they haven't been the greatest of opposition. No disrespect to them, but they haven't, let's be honest. It's something to build on. And partnerships within that 11 form as well. You know, your right-sided centre-back and your right-back, they need to know each other's game. The combinations up front. And some of our combination play today was brilliant. And I think all we could ask of now, because there's a lot of comments, and rightly so, about Lucas Moura and today's performance. Lucas is the most hit-and-miss player I've seen at Spurs in so long, because he can have these sorts of games he has today and away in Amsterdam, and he can be brilliant and unplayable at times. But then he'll have 3 or 4 poor games. And it's the same with Ndombele as well. So I think we now need these sorts of players, the inconsistent ones, to stay consistent. I feel that now, that's our now down first starting 11 for the Premier League. I think that offers us the best balance. And a special mention to Oliver Skipp, as we've said as well, because he's part of that balance. He allows the jigsaw, that to me is the piece in the jigsaw that allows our attacking play to flow as it did today, and sort of takes the handbrake off a little bit, or more so than it usually does. So I was happy that it didn't change the team. I did find it baffling there wasn't any substitutions, and I want to see this 11 now start against West Ham next week.
Well, talking about the man of the match, I think Sky Sports have actually given a joint man of the match to Sergio Reguilon and Eric Dier for the work that they did with the Newcastle fan. Tottenham Hotspur Twitter are putting a vote out amongst Harry Kane, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, Reguilon and Ndombele. Anthony, let's come to you in the 17th minute. Ndombele, what a goal from him. And as I said to Frank, this is exactly what we want to see from him week in, week out, isn't it?
Yeah, as I said when we first started talking, it was brilliant today, absolutely fantastic. And that goal, it was so like, it was weird. It was just a weird how he took it, wasn't it? He sort of leant back, and I thought, you know, it's that old thing when you're playing football, lean over the ball, hit it. But he sort of leant back and sort of curled it in, as you know. And it was just like not very what's the word? Not unorthodox. It was like an unorthodox way of scoring a goal. Do you know what I mean? And you think to yourself, is he going to hit the target? Please hit the target. And he did. And, you know, Newcastle's keeper had no chance because he used their defender as like a wall to whip it in and go. Get in the net.
Ricky, let's come to you. In the 22nd minute, Harry Kane put Tottenham 2-1 up. Of course, I was going to ask you, what do you think of VAR? Because without VAR today, that goal would not have stood.
Well, I'm thankful for that VAR ruled in our favour. It was onside, so it was rightfully ruled in our favour. But it's a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde with VAR, Chris, because you look at the two handballs that Matt Ritchie drew for, the free kick and then the one in the box. I didn't know we were allowed to defend with our elbows. I didn't know that was allowed. Do you know what I mean? So there's times it goes for us, but us being Spurs, there's a lot more times it will go against us. It's just lucky that we ended up with 3 points and a positive result, so it wasn't a major factor. But if we would have lost that game today, I think we were all would have been screaming about VAR, not giving the penalty, the one in the box, and even the free kick, which is a goal scoring opportunity, close to goal. So I'm thankful it went in our favour today. But let me just jump on Ndombele for a second. The biggest thing for me with Ndombele, yes, his performance was fantastic. There was forward passes. He was dynamic. The little flicks, the little tricks. Finding another player further up the field, but with blind passes. When he looks one way and he passes another. All of those things I thought were dynamite. But the biggest thing that I saw was him playing with a smile on his face. He played with a smile on his face. Every time that it was a close-up of him, he was giggling. The corner, after the suspended time when we came back in, and the first thing we was doing was a corner. I don't know whether anybody else saw, but he was hiding behind Harry Kane. He was using him as a shield, and then he darted round to the goalkeeper. But yes, nice movement. But he was there, and he was like jostling with Harry. He was smiling. He was joking. That's a great sign for me, because he's, playing with a smile on your face makes a difference, because he wants to be there. He wants to be involved. I think he's enjoying the responsibility. I think he's enjoying the kind of the fact that he's now a starter. He's looked at as a starter. So now he has to prove it. Yes. Week in, week out. Yes. But I think he was tremendous throughout. And to see him with a smile on his face, to not see him huffing and puffing, to not see his head back all the time, like his head's heavy or something. All of those bits and pieces of body language that we've picked up on over the last couple of years were not there today. And it wasn't there against Villa, to be fair. So to see that was fantastic for me. And I've got to shout out my dad as well, who called for Lucas to be man of the match. So I know Spurs Twitter put up those 4, but my dad was like, Lucas was man of the match all day, because he just created problems for that side, left, right, and centre. Which I've got to agree with. He was the one that just caused them dramas every time he broke forward, even if it was just a mazy run and he got clipped and we got a free kick or a foul and we got to again control the ball. He was dynamite. So perhaps that one was for you, my friend, who's watching live. So I've got to give him a little shout out.
Do you know what, Ricky? It's great, though, isn't it? The fact that the Spurs fans are arguing amongst who was man of the match when you can pick 5 or 6 names out. This is exactly the sort of performances that we want. Frank, let's talk a little bit about Lucas Moura. I know you said about your frustration with him, and I feel pretty much the same as you. I think that the end product sometimes is not good enough. You get that hat-trick at Ajax. Fantastic night that was. But he should be delivering more goals, should be delivering more assists. He was very, very unlucky not to score in the 39th minute. Heung-min Son put a corner in. And for one of the smaller players on the pitch, he gets up high, got the header against the bar. Very unlucky, wasn't he?
I think he's got in the Premier League. This is a statistic I read a couple of days ago. The highest jump to header completion ratios. He wins more headers than anyone. Obviously, centre-backs compete a lot more in the air than he would, but he's got a sensational leap. And what I want from Lucas Moura is for him to show that kind of form every week, because I've just said it literally. He's so inconsistent, but he's got so much ability. He's such an outlet for us. And when he's in that ball-carrying, dribbling mode where you can't get him off the ball, he wins free kicks. He opens up space. Son's goal was all about Lucas today. When he's direct, and he's just unplayable. But there are too many performances where he runs into people and the dribbles don't quite come off for him. and the end product isn't there. And we just need Lucas to have 10 or so good games all together in a row, consistency. And like he did, what season was it where he got over 10 Premier League goals? Was it 16, 17 or so? Well, no, when did we sign him? Was it 2018 possibly? That was his output-wise, that was his best season. I remember within that season, he scored a hat-trick against Huddersfield at home, if you remember that game. Yeah. And we need him to be a lot more clinical because, in my opinion, he offers more than Steven Bergwijn. He does. I think he's got much more ability. But if he can contribute more goals and assists alongside Son and Kane this season, we could be formidable going forward. But we need to see that every week from Lucas. We do, because he's far too inconsistent for me.
Surely some of these players, though, Frank, especially the likes of Lucas Moura, Ndombele, they've got to start chipping in with more goals, because you take Harry Kane and Heung-min Son out of that team, or they don't find a little bit of form. You know, the midfielders have got to start scoring, haven't they?
They have to. And this has been our problem over the last sort of, you know, outside Bale, Son and Kane last season. How many goals and assists did everyone else contribute? It was minimal, and it's not good enough. And every team, every time even we've got into the Champions League, we have Christian Eriksen and Dele Alli chipping in from midfield. We haven't got that anymore, and we need that. I mean, Tanguy Ndombele has got so much ability. He's got the ability to go and get 10 goals and 10 assists in the Premier League. Of course he has. And just to add as well, what you were saying earlier, Ricky, he actually made 4 tackles today and won them all. And when do you see, you know, how many times have we seen him pulling out of tackles and sort of not looking like he wants to be there? Today he did. But Chris, you've hit the nail on the head. We have to. If we're going to progress, we need more goals and contributions from midfield. It's been a good start from Højbjerg in that regard, because I don't see him as a goal scorer or too much of a contributor. But I think, what is that, a goal and assist in the Premier League now? So we could do with a little bit more from him as well, to be honest with you. With Skipp playing, and he sort of releases him and allows him to go forward a lot more often. I mean, that ball to Kane today was different class from Højbjerg. That was a brilliant passage of play. And we need these players, behind Son and Kane to step up, because if they don't, there is no way we're going to challenge for top 4 this season. No chance.
You know what? I absolutely love Højbjerg's ball over to Harry Kane. And of course, when Harry Kane put the ball in the net, he thought he was offside. That cheeky little smile, and then of course the goal was given. Fantastic moment.
One thing. Yeah, go on. Go on. No, I was going to say, I've just read one of the comments, and this person's absolutely spot on. Why does Kane take free kicks?
I was going to come on to that.
It's horrific.
We'll come on to that. Go on, ask me the question, Chris.
Anthony, I was going to ask, the boys there, Frank and Ricky, have mentioned about Tanguy Ndombele. For you, what has been the main difference with his attitude so far this season? Because as I keep saying, and as I keep mentioning, completing 90 minutes today, a performance like he gave today, the goal like he scored, this is what we want to see week in, week out. What for you, has Nuno changed anything with him? As he had the arm around the shoulder, as he had a good talk with Nuno, what's changed for you?
I don't know what's changed, Chris, but as I said to you, the last 2 games is probably his best that I've seen him in a Spurs shirt in the last 2.5, 3 seasons. So this is the player that I got told that can be unbelievable in midfield. And excuse me. And what I saw today was, as the boys said, with a smile on his face, playing, getting the ball, knocking the 1-2s, dropping a shoulder, taking off 3 players. He was brilliant today. And you've got to give credit where credit's due. He was brilliant. And I think that if he can stay consistent, stay injury free, there's a player for sure for this season.
Do you think his performances are particularly better because he's playing alongside Oliver Skipp and Pierre-Emile Højbjerg? Do you think that they give him a little bit more freedom?
They let Skipp and Højbjerg do the work. Skipp does the defensive midfielder work. Højbjerg, as we said, box to box, them passes through the defense that he likes doing. But Ndombele's in that number 10, and he just floats. He just floats around. As I said, he drops a shoulder, takes out 2 players. There's space for Kane to run onto. There's space for Son to run onto. Moura as well. So he's a luxury player, but he's got to stay injury-free, and he's got to keep playing with a smile on his face.
Yeah, absolutely. Ricky, let's come to you. I know we all touched on this earlier on in the video, but there was a medical emergency just before half-time, and where all of us fans think that, a lot of the players are not really aware of what's happening in the crowd, Sergio Reguilon went over to the referee, Andre Mariner, told him that there was a problem, and, Eric Dier then ran over to the Tottenham Hotspur bench, got medical equipment to go over to the East Stand in St James's Park. Fantastic work from both of them.
Fantastic work from both of them. Fantastic, but again, shows our integrity, shows our class as well. I mean, I don't know what it is with Tottenham or those that are connected to Tottenham, but there's been a couple, and I think the boys are ready for it now. We're not just talking Ericsson. Ginola was on Sky Sports today. And it was not too long ago that Ginola collapsed. We've had Glenn Hoddle. We also
Fabrice
had
Muamba.
Fabrice Muamba as well at White Hart Lane. And not that it's not always shocking. It is always shocking. It is. It's not nice to see. It's tough to actually react to. But the boys were on it. And as well as the kind of the stadium staff as well. But the boys were on it, and they knew how important it was, not only for the fan to get attention, but to get that defibrillator over to him. You saw Dier sprint, and we ain't seen him show a turn of pace like that in a minute. But we saw him sprint over to the side and said, no, listen, he needs the defibrillator and he needs it now. That's what you need. I don't know what you're waiting for, because the Newcastle staff, the medical professional that was there on the sidelines, he did hesitate a bit. He didn't know what had gone on. He had the defibrillator in his hand, but he didn't know whether to go or not. And Dier was just like, go. What are you waiting for? Go, get gone. Do you know what I mean? So again, class and integrity from the boys there, which I always love seeing. At that point, everything, when it came down to the game, stopped. Football stopped. It was all about the life of the fan, and you know what I mean, and the humanity that was shown through that. I think it was a beautiful thing. And again, we was on the attack at that point. We could have carried on. We could have used a distraction to our advantage, but we did not do that. We said no. Let's deal with the old fan. With the fan first. So a massive kind of big up to the boys for making it happen, and for making it happen as quickly as they did.
Frank, let's come to you a little bit more on that. Those two players could have saved the guy's life today. And, the referees and the match officials often get a lot of criticism, but they dealt with it very well as well today.
Well, I think, as Ricky said, I think, unfortunately, it's becoming, or it seems to be becoming more common, particularly the links with Spurs. Somebody's mentioned as well, Hugo Ehiog, a friend of mine, Charlie Edinburgh, his dad, Justin, unfortunately, just after the Champions League final. And to be fair, Charlie and his family are doing so much to raise awareness for CPR, having defibrillators in public, through the Justin Edinburgh Foundation. They're doing a fantastic job. And I think it is definitely worth at least, learning the basics. And Sky obviously done the segment during the break in play where David Ginola, he spoke very well. And, the advice he was given on what to do and what not to do, I think we all have to become more aware. Because, again, I don't know what it is. I don't know why, but it does seem to be more and more common. And it seems to be happening at these big events. And I think everybody has to sort of be prepared. I wouldn't say expect it, because it's not overly common, but just be aware. And I would go as far to say today, Eric Dier and Sergio Reguilon did save that gentleman's life. I do believe they did. Because if he didn't get the right treatment, even if he'd been at home, there wouldn't have been a defibrillator there. There wouldn't have been. Yeah. So I'm just, happy that it seems from what we've been told that guy is absolutely, well, not absolutely fine now, but as fine as he could be in that circumstance. He got the treatment required early and quickly and can make a speedy recovery. So as I said at the beginning of the show, that was incredible work from both of them to spot that and be as, the urgency that they both showed in getting the medics over there. I don't know how the stewards missed it or whether it was in a spot between where stewards stand or whatever, but brilliant from them too. And I do believe they saved that person's life today.
Anthony, let's come to you. Not only did Sergio Reguilon do fantastic work there, but I thought he was pretty decent as well today.
Yeah, he was good today. He was good. It can only get better. I've been a bit not critical of Sergio Reguilon, but in terms of his footballing, shut up. I just find him sometimes too erratic. And on the ball, when he's going forward, he's all right. It's just when he's defending and someone goes past him, he's always got that little mistake in him where he'll give away a free kick or give away a penalty. And, he was one of the players at fault for Newcastle's goal, their first goal, on 2 minutes. And I thought, here we go, it's going to be one of them games. But all in all, he got his character back and he done really well for, the rest of the game. And obviously helping that gentleman or that person in the stand to save that person's life. Amazing, unbelievable.
Anthony, let's talk about Tottenham's third goal in stoppage time. Heung-min Son, of course, got it. 24 hours ago, we didn't even think Heung-min Son would be playing in this game. The move started with Ndombele, went to Lucas Moura, then Harry Kane crossed for Heung-min Son to tap in. A well-worked goal.
It was brilliant. And I'm so pleased that he scored, because obviously coming onto the Dier's mistake, if we didn't score, it would have been 2-2 and we would be sitting here moaning about a draw. So, Sonny done well today, and I'm pleased. I'm pleased that him and Kane are getting that, connection again that they had so well last season. So hopefully now next week against West Ham that they can produce for sure.
That's just quickly. That's arguably the best team goal that we've scored in as long as I can remember. The passage of play was superb, and again, it was brilliant. And fair play, Lucas, because he started the move.
Yeah, very good point, Frank.
Wasn't it on Ndombele though? Yeah, go on.
Go on, Ant, go on.
When it on Ndombele, then Lucas, then bang, 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 and then we scored.
Lucas played the most important role.
Exactly. Yeah, Ndombele to Lewis to Kane. That
is the Tottenham way. That's what us fans want to see. That's
it. Yeah. I don't want to see. I don't want to see 85% possession and lose 1-0. I don't want to see that. That's not Tottenham way to me. Tottenham way is getting on the front foot and trying to, and winning games convincingly and playing well. And that's what we did today. So hats off to him.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to come on to. Ricky, let's come to you. At half-time, 8 shots, 4 on target for Spurs. We talk about the Tottenham way. We talk about this, free-flowing attacking football. Of course, we've won the Aston Villa game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium before the international break. Chances created in that game, chances created in this game, certainly in the first 45 minutes. This is the sort of football that we want to be seeing.
All there is for say, mate. All there is for say. Like, you know what I mean? So this is exactly what we needed to see. We speak about partnerships all over the pitch, and they're starting to form. Romero, Dier, however much people don't like what's happening with Dier, and the own goal didn't help him, but the partnership between Romero and Dier is beginning to blossom, and it's only just begun. The same with Romero and Emerson, only just begun, but it's getting there. The partnership between Højbjerg and Skippy, last season. Last season, Højbjerg was left so many times to do all of the work by himself, cover the left side, cover the right side, cover the middle. This is why there was gaps everywhere. Having Skippy alongside him allows them both to give and go, and share that responsibility of looking after the back four. And then, Kane and Son. Now, I said against Villa, I saw that Harry Kane glint in his eye, and he didn't score against Villa, but there was a want, and there was a bit of energy back, and there was a bit of that kind of, he took the responsibility back, and I think he built on that again. I said it against Villa, the amount of times the press, or whether that be on TV, on radio, or in the papers, have doubted him, the amount of people that have doubted him over season upon season upon season, and he will prove everyone wrong. Now, this is the first season that us fans, because of what happened in the summer and because of the body language that he was showing, I don't think it was unjust. I think he did have a bit of an Odemwingie hangover over not getting to Man City and not getting his move. But after all of that, we saw again Kane being all over the pitch, but with want and desire. He wanted to take responsibility for the side. I knew he was going to score today. I had him down for a hat trick, but maybe that was just wishful thinking. But I knew he was going to score today. Especially after the rubbish against that he got against for England against Hungary, against Hungary. So I just knew. I just had a feeling in my stomach that he was going to score today. But not only did he score today, he done all the bits that Harry Kane normally does. Control the ball, hold the ball up. When he took it, when he got the foul, but when he took the ball out of the air with 1 foot and he went to turn, and then I think it was Clark.
Kieran Clark. He got booked. He got him booked, didn't he?
Yeah, got him booked, right? So there was all of those things that I was seeing, and I think that's why. Not that I think it's the right choice on a free kick. But I think that's why he stepped up to take that free kick, because he had that confidence back. He had that fire back. He was like, "No, I'm going to put this away." He didn't, but the want and the desire and the energy within him was there. And to see that team goal play out and Sonny to score it, but for Harry to assist, I was like, thank goodness. Not only did Harry score today, but he set up Sonny, which just means our team blossoms. Just means that, again, going into West Ham, our team is going to be ready again to jump on this performance. Do you know what I mean? And start putting these building blocks into place. Nuno's had a tough time, but again, like I said earlier, he's adapted and he's changed and he's made major mistakes, and at least we've seen him learn from them as much as we can do. At least we've seen him learn from them. So, our team's dynamite. This is all we needed. This is all we wanted.
Rick, is he going to take
Yes,
Is he going to take the cup, bruv? Is he going to take the cup seriously? Do you think?
Which cup we talking?
Carabao, FA Cup. I'm just saying, once games start coming thick and fast, I mean, I'll put it out to you boys as well, Frank and Chris. Where would his loyalties lie? Is it for him to try and get Spurs? I'm going to laugh about it. Try and get us back in Champions League. What do you reckon?
I think he's going for the league. I truly think that. I think today everyone played 90 minutes because there'll be a massive rotation in the week, and he wants that 11 for next Sunday. And I think Daniel Levy is giving him, as per usual, top 4 over everything. And I truly believe that's what he's been told, because of the way that the club's infrastructure is set up. We do need Champions League football. We've got these fantastic events going on, but we've got this beautiful stadium. Sorry, revenue generation wise, but this stadium requires Champions League football. It's the best in the world. It's the most modern. So I truly believe the mandate for Nuno would be top 4 over anything else. That's just my opinion.
Is that a successful season then?
I would agree with that. That the top 4 is the biggest priority there. But I do think he's going to use the group games of the Conference League Cup as a platform for those that are not getting the minutes at the moment, and for a platform for people like Brian Hill and stuff like that to get more minutes, to get more kind of experience under his belt. I think once we get a bit serious, once we pass the group stage and we start to come up against serious sides, I think that's when we'll see our first 11 come in. And I think that the same will almost apply for the English Cups as well. I think where we can get away with it, I think he will play second teamers and those that need minutes in those cups. But then I think once it gets serious, in the English Cups, once we're up against Liverpool or Chelsea, for instance, I see us putting out our first side. But I think
possibly he went quite strong against Wolves, didn't he? In the League Cup, he played Kane.
Yeah. He played Kane because we ain't got no one else to play up front, though, Frank. I don't.
He needed to win that game as well.
But I don't see Dane Scarlett, being a formidable opponent against Connor Cody and I can't remember the other one right now. Oh, well, they've got 3, ain't they? They've got 3 centre backs. But
is it Bowley
and something else?
Romain Saiss, yeah.
Oh, Saiss. He scored against us, didn't he? Yeah, he scored.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't think Dane Scarlett being played against a back 3 of those 3 it offers us anything, So I think
this is the problem, Rick.
On that point.
On the flip side, are the fringe players such as Dele Alli, who's absolutely fallen off a cliff, Harry Winks, who's devoid of any confidence, and these youngsters, are they good enough to progress through these early stages or earlier stages of the Cups? Because I don't think they are.
I think it's step-up season, Frank. It is step-up
I don't think they are, mate.
Listen, but it's step-up season for every single person in the squad. I think a lot of the time in seasons gone, the last 2 especially, a lot of the time we've just relied on Kane and Son. They will get us a goal. They will make something happen. And that's allowed a lot of the others to kind of drop off responsibility. But this season is step-up season. So that's why I think...
Does Dele get back into the top? I'm reading loads of comments about Dele. His name's popping up. Is Dele for you still a Tottenham player come January?
That depends on the offers, Costa. If we got a good offer and the club wanted to take it, and we've got a replacement or we've got somebody in mind to fill that gap, then I see him taking it. But I think this is all up to Dele right now. You've got to remember that Dele's been asked to play a couple of different ways over the last couple of seasons, right? So even the beginning of this season, playing left centre mid, you know, being that in a midfield three, being that guy that comes back, challenge, and then tries to make something happen. He's been pulled pillar to post, I think. And I think he's been trying his best, but I don't think left centre mid is his best position.
Problem is he had the luxury. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, if he plays number 10 against Vitesse midweek, I think he might have a better game. But I still love Dele. I still think he's a dynamite player, and I think there's something in there. But
I think he's done, Rick.
He's done at this club, Rick. I'm sorry, right? I understand what you're saying. He played a lot deeper for Milton Keynes Dons, by the way, and as a youngster ran the game against Man United in the League Cup. So it's not an excuse for me. I understand he's a player. He had the luxury, a player who plays off the front man. He had the luxury of Wanyama, Ndombele and Ericsson all protected him, allowing him to do nothing but run into the box, which he was very good at, by the way. But attitude and application has fallen off a cliff. I don't care if it's taken him 2-3 seasons to realise I've actually got a work-off season and I've got to stop partying and I've got to get my head down. I think the basics in football, he's missing short passes. The silly, simple things that a player of his ability or what he's shown us should be able to do, he's not doing anymore. So I personally think in life, sometimes couples are the same in marriage and things like that. You need a change. You need a break. I think at this particular football club, he is done and finished. And I think for his own sake, he needs to move away to try and rediscover himself. And I think we should now be looking at what we can get for him and who we can get in to replace him. That's what I think. And a lot of fans are now sort of agreeing with me because we watch him week in and week out. And I can't remember in the last 3 years, he's had one patch of consistency, which was when Jose Mourinho first came in. And the first sort of 5 or 6 games, he actually, that's the last time I've seen him consistently good. And I'm not having all of this, he's worked hard this season, off the ball, he's been running around. I mean, his main attribute, I know he scored the penalty against Wolves, has been his main attributes are the things that I've been seeing him do better than the rest of his game is making blocks and clearances. And this is Dele Alli. This is a player who, back-to-back Young Player of the Year, all the goals and assists that he got for this
late
club.
Runs in the box, isn't it?
Late runs in. I just think he's flat at Spurs. He's finished at the club. He probably took what he had for granted, in my opinion, as a professional for too long. And I think we need to get rid of him, Rick. I'm sorry, mate.
Listen, Frank, it does happen. It does happen. There are players out there that have dynamite seasons and potentially they can be match winners. Rabel Morrison comes to mind. Do you know what I mean? As somebody who was dynamite, and everyone, Ferguson, everyone that works with him was like, this kid is off the charts. All he needs to do is apply himself. So I totally get your point that, maybe he's dropped off. Well, he's dropped off, and maybe he needs to move away. But right now, if he wants to stay or if he wants to be in the first 11, then the challenge is now there. Do you know what I mean? To take his opportunities where he's given them, to show us, the fans, to show Nuno, the manager, and show Paratici and Levy that he wants to be here. Or he has to perform to get the best move away he can, so that he doesn't go to Newcastle, for instance. He goes to PSG or Juventus or wherever he wants to be, wherever he thinks his ceiling is. It is time for performances from him. It is time when he gets the opportunity to show us all what he's about, I just think that over the summer, I think he's been showing us all that there's a want and a try there. During the Euros, he done his own pre-season and stuff like that, and he has come back bulkier and stuff like that. So I can see him trying, but obviously the performances haven't warranted the kind of the effects he's had off of the field.
Yeah, no, you're right. Sorry, boys. I just wanted to put it out there because I'm seeing a lot of comments, because obviously we're talking about, and Chris rightly so said about, is this our strongest 11? Now, I would personally say, as I said, at this present time, yes. But then you're going, but what about Dele? Dele runs around a lot. Well, I can run around a lot. Ricky, you could run around. Frank, you could. Chris, you could. But for me, the consistency with Dele in the last 2-3 seasons, for sure, has not been good. It's not been good, and Joey says it here on the comments there. Look, 4 years.
Can I just say, Anne, that if we want to compete in all of the other competitions as well, trying to get top four, trying to win the Carabao Cup, the Europa Conference League, FA Cup that we haven't won in years, then we need players. We need strength in depth. Now, will these players step up to the mark? Because in my opinion, when you're playing players like Dele Alli, Harry Winks and co, like you said, Frank, the fringe players, as you called them, surely they've got to be stepping up in these cup games and grabbing any opportunity you get. Because when you're given minutes, no matter what competition it's in, you've got to grab that opportunity to have any chance of getting Premier League minutes. Because if one of these players, and as you just said, Anthony, I think all four of us would agree that today's starting 11 is probably our best. If one of those players gets an injury, Nuno and all of us fans want to feel confident in the player coming in. So, Frank, let's come back to you. Now, Joey writes on the screen here, Dele is done. He agrees with what you've said about Dele Alli. Who are you confident in coming in if one of these starting 11 today gets injured?
It's a good question. Not too many of them. I'll be totally honest. Harry Winks, I'm not confident in. Steven Bergwijn has flattered to deceive. Has he been a good signing? No. Is his output great? No. If we're being brutal, Dele Alli, I totally agree with you, Joey S. I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think he's done at the club. On the flip side to what you've said, Chris, as well, will these players sulk if they're not featuring in the first team and they're only getting the lesser games? And I can see a couple of them in the makeup of their attitude. They probably would. And so far this season, have any of them in those games put their hand up and said, I should be in the starting 11? Dele Alli against Moura got dragged early. He was awful. So what does that tell you? And unfortunately, Chris, I'm not too confident. I mean, if the two centre-backs, which we'll probably get into in a minute because we haven't spoken about the two centre-backs, if anything happens to them, we've got Rodon and Sanchez. Now, Joe Rodon, he hasn't been poor for Spurs, but he hasn't exactly had too many games where you think he's going to be a genuine.
I don't mind him though, Frank.
I don't mind him. I'm saying I don't mind him. Is Joe Rodon going to start in a top or a club challenging for the top four of the Premier League? Does Joe Rodon start or play or feature in your team? No, he doesn't. Davinson Sanchez is just a bag of nerves for me. He panics and he doesn't instill any confidence into his teammates.
What about Sessegnon, man?
Ben Davies is our backup left back still. We should have probably not been at the club for the last 18 months. We should have done better. Ryan Sessegnon, very injury prone. Is he a sufficient fill-in for Reguilon? No. I like Tanganga. I think he's got huge potential. That's one that I'll give the thumbs up to. But unfortunately, to answer your question, Chris, no. The backup players, as you say, they don't instill with too much confidence at all. And this has been the problem at Spurs for years, mate. This has been our problem.
With the squad that we've got and the transfers that we've done in the summer, is this starting 11 going to be good enough to get a good European spot, like a Champions League spot? Can we challenge for the top four with this current team?
Possibly. Top four, I'm not too sure on, because obviously there's four brilliant teams, or not brilliant, three brilliant teams, and a Manchester United, who are a big club and got big players. We'll be up against those sorts of clubs, so it'll be tough. But I don't mind this starting 11. I think the starting 11 can perform at a high level. The problem is, Chris, as we've just said, if we do get 2 or 3 or 4 injuries, that's when the performance levels will drop, because the drop in quality beyond that 11 is huge. I mean, Gio Lo Celso is another one I didn't mention there. For Argentina, seems to be better than Messi at times. For us, we had this chat before, Chris. Where does he play? Sort of thing. He's obviously a 10. But no, because the depth in strength, we don't have depth in strength. This has always been the way with Spurs. I mean, under Pochettino, it actually cost us titles, not top 4. It did. We've always had sort of 13 or 14 very capable or top level players. And then the rest of the squad has not been fit for purpose, in my opinion, to be a big club, to be a Man City or challenge a Man City, a Liverpool, or Man United. So I think we still need to work on improving the squad. We've got obviously Sarr to come back next season from his loan at Metz. But yeah, we need another striker. We need another winger. We need probably another creative midfielder and another centre-back, in my opinion. So, 3 or 4 players away from having a proper squad.
Anthony, let's come to you. David writes on the screen now. You have to look on how a player improves. Dele Alli hasn't. Like Harry Winks showed promise, then falls off. I had to give this question to you when it mentions Harry Winks. Now, when we talk about strength in depth, who are you confident on Nuno bringing in? Because I think, as Frank said earlier, this Thursday coming against the Arnhem in the Europa Conference League, the squad will rotate heavily again. We'll see lots of changes. Who are you feeling confident of coming in?
I think Lo Celso will play on Thursday. I think Gil will play for sure. It's just a Bergwijn will get a run out, and I just think, who's up front? I can't. We got no. He's going to play Scarlett because that's all we've got. But I think in a 3, or if he goes 4-2-3-1, he will go Bergwijn, Lo Celso, and Hill. And I want to see Hill. I want to see more of this boy. Everyone's raving about, he's the next best thing. He's just been voted in the under-21s best Spanish player of the year. I've only seen 10 minutes of him. Do you know what I mean? So I need to see some consistency from this boy now, and hopefully he can get the chance and he can, kick on from there for sure.
Also, another one of your favourite players, Anthony, and I've got to come to you on this question. 89th minute, Eric Dier own goal, made it 3-2. Went to head it, come off his knee. Talk us through the goal.
Well,
what happened?
Why is Ricky laughing, mate? Am I that bad? I'm too. You know what? You boys see I'm like glass, and I can see through the emotion. Listen, I'll tell you what, right? Remember the message, boys. Darren Hart sent a message to the group going, "It's in the bag, boys." I went, "Bruv, we've got 5 minutes left. Let's not get excited." And as I texted that, Eric Dier scored the own goal, and I was like, "Here we go. There was no one around him. Why are you trying to clear that line, man? He's sitting down. It's gone off his knee. What are you doing?" Oh, man. When that went in, I was like, all right, do you know what? Squeaky bum time. 5 minutes left. And then the assistant ref has gone 4 minutes, because how did he get 4 minutes extra time in the second half? Because there's not a lot of subs from our end, obviously Newcastle. And I was like, squeaky bum time. And, but listen, Dier was all right for 89.5 minutes today. But he's not the answer. We need another centre half. I'd like to see Roden get a run out for sure with Romero. Why not? But listen, we got the win. We got the 3 points, and that's all that matters to me today.
Ricky, let's come to you. All joking aside about Eric Dier's own goal in the 89th minute, but do you feel a lot more confident about this Tottenham defence this season?
I think it's getting there. Chris. And this is what we've got to play with. So we have to have hope, and we have to look for the positives in what we have. With Dier, it's always tough because he will have a couple of solid performances, like a lot of the squad. Do you know what I mean? They'll have a couple of solid performances, and then they'll have one game where they really switch off, and then all of our kind of previous bias will come into play. Like all of his performances from last season and the season before comes back to mind. When he was playing DM and he couldn't run. All these things come back to mind, and we go, now we've had enough of Dier. But we have to give credit where credit is due. The first three games of the season, there was clean sheets. Was there mistakes against Palace and Chelsea and the Gooners? Massively. But there was also tactical mistakes. There was also an imbalance in the 11 that we put out there. Fortunately, Nuno has then started adapted and learn with which players that he can play with. I think after the Gooner game, I think Nuno knew that he couldn't drop Skippy, and how important Skippy is to the way that we play and the way that we can not only defend but also break forward. We've seen it in the performances from Tungai. The fact that he's been allowed to kind of just stay up the field. I was saying in the last pod, like, get him off defensive duties. Now I'm really happy that he went in for 4 tackles and he completed all 4 of those tackles. That is music to my ears. But keep him up the field. And just to double back on our bench and our squad right now, what we have in our bench and in our squad is a lot of potential. Yeah, we have a potential squad. We have players with a lot of potential. We haven't got a Man City bench. We haven't got a Chelsea bench. Do you know what I mean? We've got a bench that is full of potential. Bergwijn, I don't think he's a bad player. I really don't. I think there's a lot to come from him, but he is young and he hasn't been able to get the consistency underneath his belt that we would all love him to have. You know, the first 3 games, he played extremely well. And then when he was injured for the next 3 games, we felt the loss of him not being on the field at that point. So I still think there's a lot to come from him. Brian Hill, he's a, you know, really young player. We can't put too much pressure on him. Of course, we want him to do well and be consistent, but we can't put too much pressure on him. We've got to let him flourish. We've got to let him grow. A lot of these players, including players like Reguilon, they've got to bulk up. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of kind of strength in their upper body that needs to, you know, they need to hit the gym with Dele a little bit more, you know, so that their chest puffs out a little bit and they can use their strength to kind of hold off a player, like Tungai does, like Emerson was doing a couple of times, you know, like Romero. Romero uses his body weight and his strength really, really well, really well. He will get his body in a place where he can just nick the ball away and then, you know, put it on the counter for us or get it out to midfield. So we have a potential. When I looked at the bench today, I looked at 3 players that could come on and change the game if need be. We had Lo Celso, and we had Bergie, and we had Brian Hill. First time in a while where I've looked at the bench and gone, oh, we've got 3 players that could change the game if need be.
No goals, no goals on the bench. There's no goals on our bench. That's the big issue for me. Who comes on and scores a goal for us?
But
and this is what I meant earlier.
Go on, Frank.
No, I was going to say, somebody said in the comments, oh, miles off top 4, look at the table. What I meant by that is you look at the depth in our squad compared to the big 4 clubs, it's chalk and cheese. I mean, look at Man United. I mean, the leveler with them is Ollie. Ollie is the manager. But look at their bench options. I mean, Donny van der Beek doesn't get a game.
Do you know what, Frank? The big worry I have is when we are going, you know, further in these cup competitions, you know, it means that the likes of Heung-min Son and Harry Kane will need to play and feature in these matches because, you know, unless we do some serious business in the January transfer window, which is probably unlikely.
Chris, what happens if Kane and Son get injured again like they did under Jose?
Exactly.
We're in big trouble, and this is why challenging for the top 4, we are 2 or 3 injuries away from disaster, unfortunately, at Tottenham. And it's been that way for a few years now, and it has to change. And the only way it will change is proper recruitment, and that's a fact.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you look at today, even today, with the kind of the false negative results, a lot of us were sweating just because Sonny was going to be out. Now, we knew we'd have Kane, but just having Sonny out, we all felt it. It was like, oh, no, here we go. Oh, no, here we go. So I totally get it, but this is what I say is step-up season. For all of these players that we've got, potentially, it's step-up season. They've got to show us now. They've got to show us more when they get that opportunity.
Frank, I want to come to you. I want to talk a little bit about Oliver Skipp because we talk about, you know, huge signings. We always talk about the transfer window, how much money we're going to spend. Of course, Oliver Skipp is one of our own. I remember, you know, I watched a lot of the under-23 matches, and I remember going to see Oliver Skipp play, 16, 17 years old, in the under-23s. He was absolutely controlling games, was the best player on the pitch without any doubt, you know, playing alongside players who were 21, 22, 23. And, you know, of course, last season went on loan to Norwich City, come back. I think a lot of fans, I think a lot of journalists and pundits expect him to go out on loan again this season. But he is proving to be that difference in midfield, keeping things very simple, keeping things ticking along. And he looks a real talent, doesn't he?
He offers us so much more protection. And, you know, as a centre-back pairing or a back 4, if you haven't got anything in front of you offering the required protection in the Premier League, you could be the best centre-back in the world and you'll just get exposed. And he offers us such balance because he's just a natural there. He's such a ball winner. He's composed. What I haven't seen from him, which I saw at Norwich. At Norwich, he was hitting first-time half-volley 35-yard balls out to left and right flanks. And I was, wow, I haven't seen that from him yet. But maybe that's because he's been instructed just to play it tight and simple and not overexert his passing. But he's been like a new signing. I think he's got so much potential. If Jose Mourinho and Mauricio Pochettino both turn around and say, this kid is going to be future captain and this and that and the other, then you've got a special player on your hands. He's only going to get better. I mean, at 25, 26, 27 years old, he could be an absolute monster for us. Yeah. And again, being one of our own, he loves the club. You'd like to think there's an element of extra loyalty there through the kids that came through the academy. But I do believe our back 4, I know we conceded 2 goals today, but we're better for having him in the side, 1,000,000%. And for me, he's one of the first names on the team sheet now. He offers us balance. Again, he, to me, seems like a proper professional. He lives the life. I've not heard anything of him going out clubbing, drinking, doing the wrong things. And long may that continue. I think he's brilliant.
Anthony, let's come to you. Of course, the season started off so well. 3 wins out of 3 against Manchester City, Wolves and Watford. We then lost 3. It was a terrible time for us, losing at Crystal Palace, home to Chelsea and then away at Arsenal. And we have won our last 2, Aston Villa and Newcastle. Spurs are now up to 5th, only 4 points away from top. Can you believe that after that dismal run of those 3 defeats?
No.
We've now played 8, we've won 5, we've lost 3, got 15 points, 4 points away from top place Chelsea. Now, how do we continue this consistency to win football matches?
Players we play today. Next week against West Ham, it's their cup final, so they're going to be up for it regardless. If they were sitting in 17th and we were top of the league, they always turn up against us. Someone that hasn't scored for them all season will score against us. So I think next week will really show and tell what our character's like. Today was a good result. We move on, but next week it's a London derby. We've got to be up for it because that North London derby a couple of weeks ago was the worst I've ever seen. So this one coming up next week against West Ham it's going to be tough because they are playing for David Moyes, and you saw it today. They grind out results. They always do it, and they always turn up against Spurs.
I think it's hard to compare the Arsenal game to this game next week because Luno learnt a harsh lesson there, and the way that he set us up was, we've all spoke about this. It was unforgivable almost, and I don't think he'll make the same mistake again. Skipp will be in. I think we'll be a lot more compact. But West Ham, we are their cup final, and next week will show us a lot more about where this squad is heading, in my opinion. Yeah, completely right. But what I was trying to say is if someone has a good game on Thursday, they're in the squad on the team for Sunday. No, keep to this team for next week. They know what they're doing. They're enjoying it. They look happy today. Let's keep that consistency going. And obviously, if there's an injury, then we have to just obviously see what happens. But what I saw today, I was very, very impressed, and long may it continue.
Surely, though, Anthony, winning against Aston Villa at the Spurs Stadium a few weeks back, winning today, surely Nuno Espirito Santo, regardless of what team he puts out on Thursday against Vitesse Arnhem in the Europa Conference League, surely he's going to want to continue with this starting 11, regardless.
Chris. Oh, 100%. This is what I'm saying. But you go back a couple of weeks ago, Ben Davies came on against Palace and we lost 3-0. And then 3 days later, he gives him the captain's armband. Dele Alli gets subbed against Arsenal. And then 3 days later, he gets the captain's armband against Moura. Enough of that. We're not a babysitting service anymore. It's Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. You got to start trying to perform now. And trying to, I'm so flipping emotional because it just upsets me that we can do it, but these players have to turn up week in, week out, and not babysit and not be too emotionally attached to these players. They play for our club. We love them. They put on their shirt. They give 100%. If they give 100%, that's all we ask for.
There's no doubt at all, Anthony, that we're all so emotionally involved with Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. It ruins
what I mean.
When we don't get the result that we want.
That's what, I can watch Match of the Day 2 tonight with a smile on my face. Do you know what I mean?
But we can't help the emotion. I think with today's first 11, which we've all agreed on now, that's our strongest team so far. I think that has set the bar. Okay, so for those in rotation and for those coming in for the the second team game, whoever's rotated in for the game against Vitesse. Now, this is what I'm saying about step up season. The bar's already been set now, so now you have to show us whoever's coming into that game, even if it's like the young boy now, John. Whoever, step up season, show us what you're about, so that if there is an injury or if there is something that happens just before kickoff, we can kind of put in a Hill or a Bergwijn, or we can put in somebody else if need be. So this is what the when you're rotating the side, this is what it's about. I can't have them going into that cup game with their heads hanging down, being like, "Oh, I'm playing in this Conference League. I don't want to play in it. I want to play in the Premiership." I ain't got time for that.
But some of them will, Rick. That's the
Some
problem.
of them will, though.
Some of them will, mate.
And if they do, I think that's the measure of our squad. That will show us more than anything that certain players need to go. Now, we know there's certain players that need to go, but this is their last chance opportunity. If they don't think that this is their level right now, and whoever the comment was about Winks will always show up against a side that is well below par for us to be playing in the first place. You know, he turned up against Marine, for goodness crackers. Do you know what I mean? Like, he'll turn up against a side that ain't on the level. So at least he is turning up for those games. So I'll give him credit for that. Now it's time for the rest of those players, those second teamers, to come in and step up. The same as Rodon. Every time Rodon's come in, I haven't been kind of overly worried. I've kind of been like, I'm trying to look at his qualities, kind of go, oh, it reminds me a bit of Dawson. I can see a bit of this and a bit of that in him. So this is what it's about. This is what if the side is rotated, it's take your chance. Do you know what I mean? You've seen where the bar's being set. Take your chance. Show us all, including the club, including the manager, including us fans, that you deserve to come on 60, 70 minutes if we need a player to come on.
Ricky, bearing in mind how important that West Ham game is, and I think we all agree on, league position is paramount this season to try and get back into the Champions League for next season. Do you think that any of the starting 11 that play today will be in the starting 11 on Thursday?
I reckon Skipp or Højbjerg might play, or they might kind of rotate. So, like, let's say Skipp plays 60 minutes and then Højbjerg will take over for the rest of the game. I reckon centre midfield is really important, but I reckon it's probably going to be a change side, Chris. It's probably going to be Galini, Tanganga, Sanchez, Rodon, probably Davis because Sessegnon's still out.
What's happened to Sessignon, man? How many games has he played with Spurs?
I know, bruv. He keeps getting injured. And you know what? Like, against Hoffenheim, when he was playing for Hoffenheim, he didn't have too many. He did have a couple of niggles, but he didn't have too many injuries. And he got a consistency of play in him where we started to see some performances from him. And it's really tough being at Spurs right now, not being able to get a consistency because he's not our first choice left back anyway, or even first choice left wing back or winger. He's not. He's almost third in every one of those positions right now because he hasn't been able to put a run of games together, show what he's really about. Every time he does play, he looks a bit nervous. And then every time, the responsibility is given to him, he gets injured. So it's really, really stop-start for him. I kind of feel sorry for him, to tell you the truth.
Frank, let's come to you. Of course, we're back in action in the Europa Conference League on Thursday against Vitesse Arnhem. We all know what happened last time we played in Holland. What a great night that was. But Vitesse Arnhem have actually got a very similar record in the Dutch league to we have in the Premier League. They're currently 6th. They've played 9. They've won 5. They've drawn 1. They've lost 3. They've got 16 points. They're 6th from top. They have played 2 games in the Europa Conference League so far, beating Moura 2-0 away and then losing 2-1 at home to Rennes. What do you expect out of the game on Thursday?
Well, I'd like to say a win. I'd like to think even the fringe players have got enough to beat them, but I can't wholeheartedly say that that's the case. I think that going back to just briefly what you said earlier, we do need consistency in our first 11 for the Prem. And this team now that he's played today, particularly any back 4, back 5, including a keeper, need continuity and consistency. I think that is our best back 4. You can say what you want about Dier. His body position was awful for the goal. We've said that. I understand, but I think that combination's the best. I think Romero's going to get better. So I'd like to give that 11 a run of 10 games now in the Premier League, unchanged unless there's injury. And I think that's the only way we're going to build in the Prem. But going back to these Europa Conference games, if, like Ricky said, the Harry Winkses and the Dele Allis and Gio Lo Celsos, if they can't dominate these Vitesse Arnhems and these lesser teams, because it's the 3rd tier European competition, the Dutch league, let's be honest with you, has got PSV and Ajax, and I mean even Feyenoord, Cosimo accumulated this weekend. Let's not go into that, but they haven't got. It's not a great league. Let's be honest with you. So if those players cannot go out and perform against Vitesse, then there's no point in keeping them at the club. So yeah, I'm expecting a win, but you know, we made hard work of Moura. Let's be honest. Until the changes, that game was shaking. We're all sitting there thinking, what are we watching? And what I don't want to see Kane and Son coming off the bench with 25, 30 minutes to go and pulling us out the crap again, because that cannot happen. And if that does happen, that is, again, just another, it solidifies the fact that the fringe players aren't good enough. So
are you saying then, Frank, that Nuno should stick to an 11 in the Premier League and 11 with any cup competition? So even the week after next, when we play Burnley away in the Carabao Cup, that should be a completely different 11 to Premier League 11.
Not necessarily the English Cups, but the Europa Conference League, due to the standard of that competition, I would keep this 11 in the Premier League completely separate from that. That, to me, would be almost like I wouldn't say feeder team, but my reserve team competition. And obviously, I mean, when we play Burnley away, they'll rotate because they're fighting for their lives at the moment in the Premier League. They've had an awful start. But going, as you said, I would keep it separate in the early stages of the Cups, depending on the draw. It's important, obviously, depending on who we play. If we get a third-round FA Cup tie against a non-league team, for instance, then, change the full starting 11. And obviously, when it comes to, if we get to a quarter-final or a semi-final, I would expect him to try and win the competition. I get that. So there is a balance. But, in the Europa, to answer your question, I want a completely separate 11 in this conference than what I want in the Premier League, particularly where we play Thursday and Sunday.
Anthony, how are you feeling about it? Because I know, of course, the London derbies for all of us Tottenham fans are very, very important. Do you think that any of the starting 11 today will feature in Holland on Thursday?
I don't think so. No, I think it's going to be a completely different 11. I'm probably wrong, but that 11 today has to start against West Ham, because that's the only way we're going to get. I keep saying this word. The only way we're going to see consistency, and not chop and change in your back four, your back five, different midfielders, different attackers. Just keep it as it is. It worked today. Let's carry on.
Anthony, what are you expecting and hoping for this season? You mentioned it earlier, and you said, is that a successful season for you? What is going to be a successful season? I'm
like you, Chris. I'm sure the boys as well. We talk about it all the time. I want to see my club at Wembley Stadium lifting a trophy. That's what I want.
But that's my point. The fact that all of us have spoken about how important it is to have a good starting 11, we all know, and I think we all agree that we're not going to win the Premier League this season. But if that league position is so important to finish or try and finish in the top four, how are we going to go on to win a cup?
Why are we going to? I wouldn't want to put all our eggs in one basket for the Champions League, because we get the Champions League, great. But then is the ball going to spend? Are we going to spend to build on our squad? Probably not, mate. It's happened before. After the Champions League final, innit? Yeah, we didn't build. And look where we are now. We're struggling. Everyone else is going to start taking over us. So I'd rather just be consistent. If we get in the top four, playing good football, brilliant, fab. Then we can talk again. But all this, it's got to be top four. It's got to be top four because we're going to get that money there and he's going to spend. They're not going to spend. They're not going to spend. The proof's never been proven. It's not in the pudding. So I'd rather us try for a cup or cups and then see where we go from there.
But on the flip side to that, Anne, sorry, just on the flip side, it's over the course of the season, it's not really putting your eggs into one basket, because over 38 games, you've got 38 chances to be consistent to achieve something. I think the one-off cup games scare me a bit more because, the history of this club under a bit of pressure.
I know.
We put all our eggs into winning the FA Cup. We pick a team, just saying a semi-final, just hypothetically, whatever, and you've got to choose between picking your strongest team to give you a chance of challenging for the top four, or your strongest team in an FA Cup semi-final when you've got both games within 3 days of each other. What do you do? What would you back Spurs more to do? Would you back us to bottom the semi? Because I would. I know it sounds negative.
We would do. I know. But it's true though, isn't it?
Win a cup. We need a cup.
There's nothing better, man.
That hex off our back. We have to. I agree with that. But I don't think we've got the squad to win an FA Cup.
That's exactly what I was trying to say. We haven't got the squad. So if we did get top four, are the board going to spend to make us even hopefully a better side next season? They're not.
Well, I think we all know, and I think we all agree that the fact that the ultimate aim is top four for the club. But you as fans, would you rather take no European football the following season and actually win a cup, actually put something in the cabinet? Let all of you answer that. Ricky, let's start with you. Would you rather a cup rather than play European football the following season?
You know what? That's a tough one, Chris. It's a tough one to answer. It really is.
Because when you think, I know a lot of the comments are going to say he's off on a tangent now. When you think 1991, the last time
we haven't won an FA Cup since the Premier League started.
Mad. 2008, the last trophy we won. It's just crazy.
Listen, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. All right, we need to get a drinking game going every time trophies are mentioned on this show. Just for our own, fun and sanity. Of course, we're all desperate for a cup, my friend. I mean, for me, it's I want to see performances. I want my team to be dangerous again. I want them to be feared again. I want us to kind of go out there and even like use the subs. Like, so in some of these cup competitions, I don't know, I can't remember, but I don't know whether it's still in the English cups, but we do know in the European Conference Cup that we have 5 substitutes. So if we can use our subs to manage a squad, then I don't see why we can't go and get a high league position and go for a cup as well. At our most prolific time under Poch, and here he is, I mentioned him again, bring him back. In our most prolific time under Poch, we was playing like Wednesday, Sunday, and we had the levels of fitness where we could rely on that squad with a couple of changes here and there. But most of the time, we relied on that squad to play 2 times in a week. I think we can get there again. And if we can't, like, so for instance, if we're going up against a team where in the cups where we feel we need to play the first 11, then let's use our subs to our advantage. Let's either start with the second side and bring those 5 first teamers on, or the other way around where we can manage some minutes or a mix and match. But we're going to have to use the subs to our best advantage to go forward. Would I take a cup over Europe? Wouldn't a cup give us Europe anyway?
Yeah, I think it would.
Yeah, of course it would.
So
you get Europa if you win a cup, but okay, top 4 or FA Cup, Rick?
It's tough.
He's going to say top 4, man. He's going to play top 4.
Do you know why it's tough? Because you've got, on one hand, I want the FA Cup. I'll be honest with you. It's a special cup. We won it 8 times up in 1991. We were the leaders in English football. We'd won it more than anyone. Tottenham was synonymous with the FA Cup. So I want the FA Cup. But the only thing it doesn't give you, unfortunately, which it should, but that's a conversation for another day, is it doesn't give you those away days at Barcelona, or it probably won't be next season because they're in freefall. But the royal... the glamour of European football, going to the Bernabeu and playing Real Madrid. I've been there twice. It's 2 unbelievable experiences that you don't quite get following on from the FA Cup win, if that makes sense. I mean, being greedy, you want top 4 in an FA Cup. But Chris, to answer your original question, although it doesn't give you what I've just said, I want an FA Cup. We have to win a trophy. No FA Cup since 91 is horrific for this football.
We haven't won a cup since the Premier League started. The FA Cup, man. There's nothing better, I keep saying it, than seeing your captain of your football club lifting the FA Cup or lifting or even the Carabao Cup. I was there at Chelsea. It was unbelievable when we beat them. It's the best day.
Anthony, how do you feel a week or so ago seeing Lloris pick up the Nations League, and of course a few years ago picking up the World Cup? Me and
the LD Cup.
I felt so happy for him. But then I felt a bit sad in a way, thinking I want to see him lifting trophies at Spurs.
So do I. Exactly that. You just answered you just said exactly what I just said. Yeah, it's nice that he's winning cups for his country. It's brilliant. Fair play to you. But you're not doing it at your club. I want to see you lift the cup for the club.
You know, my dad would say cup as well. So I probably would have to say cup within this style of question, because I think, again, like the boys are saying, what a win like that would do for us, I think would be phenomenal. What to get the monkey off our back of not winning for I don't know how long, but to have some of those players like Lloris, like Kane, like Sonny, they deserve to lift a cup. They deserve to lift the trophy for us with a cockerel on their chest. You know what I mean? They deserve it.
That's what I'm saying.
And we do deserve it too. So On this occasion, Chris, I'm going to have to go with the cup, mate. I'm going to have to go with the cup.
You're going to have to go with the cup, Rick. You're old school.
Good.
Ricky, you're old school, mate. Come on. Don't do this all this new fan base like Champions League. Because we're never going to win it. So let's try and go for the cups.
It's about the money, though, Anthony, isn't it? With finishing top 4, playing Champions League, it's about the money.
That's what Frank said.
And a lot of fans rightly say, and I said it in the chat tonight, is the fact that you'd be attracting those world-class players to the club. But are we signing those world-class players anyway? That's my point. So why not just go for a cup and put a few in the cabinet?
I was just going to say, top 4, just quickly, top 4 does, the only thing it does over the FA Cup, it builds the bridge, tightens the gap between us and the big super clubs, the Chelseas, the Man Cities, the Liverpools, financially, and as you said, to be able to attract players. So if we do want to close that gap, which is quite a big gap at the moment, then it's going to be Champions League. But FA Cup, old school.
Actually, just before we get on to the score predictions for both of those games we've mentioned, I just want all of your thoughts very quickly on the Newcastle takeover. Of course, that place was absolutely buzzing. Frank, let's start with you. Frank, let's start with you. How would you feel if Tottenham had the takeover that Newcastle have just had?
Well, I think a lot of Spurs Twitter and a lot of opinions that are against this takeover are the ethics and the morality of it, i.e., the murky past of the Saudi regime, obviously with that journalist, I've completely forgotten his name, murdered in the Saudi consulate in Turkey, murky money, etc. Is it any different to what's going on at Man City or Chelsea? No, it's not. Has money ruined football? Yes, it has. Is dirty money rife in football? Yes, it is. So I don't buy into all that sort of ethics side of things. There's a load of rubbish, because if that was the case, there'd be uproar at most clubs. PSG, how did these owners get their money? We could literally scrutinise every super rich billionaire and how they came about to get their money, and there would be completely wrong ethics in every single path and journey. I've got no doubt about it. But I just want an owner or a group of owners that make us dream again. And I can hand on heart think we're actually going to compete now. So I'm jealous. I'll be completely honest, totally jealous, because within the next 5 to 10 years, they'll win trophies. They'll buy big superstars. They'll have a team that they probably wouldn't have dreamed of a few years ago. So I'm jealous. If that Saudi consortium group, Amanda Slavey, whoever is the actual owner, if they wanted to buy Spurs, would I be against it? No, I wouldn't be against it. Because this club, and in my lifetime, certainly, I'm 37 years old. I don't even remember the FA Cup in 1991. I've had nothing to dream about in my entire lifetime supporting this club. We had a little patch under Harry Redknapp where we were top at Christmas, and we didn't sign anyone. I think we signed Ryan Nelson and Louis Saha. That spell there with that team, with the Modric's, the Bales, that made me dream and believe. The spell that we just had under Pochettino, where we probably should have won the league and FA Cup and the Champions League, that made me believe. But that's probably 5 years in my entire lifetime. I have had nothing to gloat about. I've had no glory. The game is about glory, according to this club. There's been no glory in my lifetime. So I am desperate to just have a club that competes for top trophies and actually wins. And unfortunately, under Ennick, whether I'm right or wrong, whether they do invest the money that they're going to generate from these events, that obviously we'll see. I just don't trust they will. And I just don't think that with Ennick as our owners, we are going to progress to the level where we will consistently challenge for league titles and win big trophies. And I might be wrong, time will tell, but they don't make me believe this group of owners that we have at the moment. And
Frank, I've got to come back to you on that. Do you think that Nuno Espirito Santo will make you believe again?
No. To be quite blunt, no.
Okay. And how are you feeling about the Newcastle takeover? Would you like new owners to come in at Spurs and spend serious amounts of money?
Yeah, I'm seeing Jeff Bezos from Amazon, so we can call it the Amazon Stadium. That'd be fantastic. But listen, good luck to them, whatever they want to do with their club. It's not my club. I don't support Newcastle, but Tottenham, I want owners that buy players and put money back into the club. I know I'm going to get a load of people saying, yeah, but they regenerate from the NFLs and everything else. But I just want chairman to every transfer window to build. And for me, not building off the Champions League final was just diabolical. It was pathetic. So for me, I just think that if an owner's out there and wants to buy us, you know, as I said, Jeff Bezos, Amazon Stadium. Let's do it, man. Let's get a statue of the late great legendary Jimmy Greaves and Bill Nicholson outside the stadium as well.
Ricky, just your thoughts on the Newcastle takeover?
Good luck to him, mate. Good luck to him. You know, a bit like Ant, they're not my team, so you know, it's just another club of money. It's just somebody else that's gonna.
But the thing is, don't you worry about the extra European place? Because even Frank said there, in the next 5-10 years, they'll win trophies. I think it's going to happen a lot sooner than that. And I think that they're going to spend serious amounts of money, and they are going to be one of those teams challenging for the spots that Tottenham want. You know, one of those Champions League spots, a Europa League spot, even a Europa Conference League spot. It makes the league even more difficult, doesn't it?
Of course it does. But we're at an advantage right now. So we're ahead of them. Our first 11 is way ahead of theirs, you know. So we have got to use our advantage to our benefit. You know, where we are is stature-wise as a club. Now, this comes down to the owners again, and I know the boys have said it's not going to happen because it's never happened, but this is where they've got to try and right the wrongs of the past, you know, where we've missed opportunities to progress. You know, we was looking at Kunde and Pau Torres, the two centre-backs, that 50 million plus, you know, but they won the Champions League football.
Yeah.
So again, it's up to us to kind of push and kind of use what we've got, and you know, and not be fazed by what anybody else has got. You know, we finished above Liverpool for a period of time before they bought their three, and even then there was a period of time. You know, we got into the Champions League with Crouchy's goal against Man City when they had their owners. You know, and again, it's even though Newcastle are going to have money, it doesn't mean they're going to win everything, you know, like that. You know, there's also Chelsea, there's also Man City. Man City have dominated the cups for I don't know how long. You know, for the last 5 years, I'm going to guess at a number, but for the last 5 years, if there was 10 cups, they've won 8 of them. Do you know what I mean? It's something around, that ain't a true fact, but you know, it's something around that way. So it's going to be tough for them. It's not like, I don't think they're just willy-nilly going to spend some money and get in there. There's going to be a progression, you know? So we've got to use what we've got right now, and the board have got to stop making the mistakes, learn from the past, and get their hands in their pocket and let Paratici do the work that he needs to do. If we're going to bring in Skriniar, if we're going to bring in Pau Torres or Kunde at centre-backs, let's do that. Let's get it done. If we're going to bring in a McKennie or a Kessie in midfield, somebody a bit mean, let's do it. Let's get it done. Let's stop this dilly-dallying about. Do you know what I mean? Let's go for our number one targets. Let's put some money into the budget. And like, that's my hope. I know what the reality is. You know, I just hope that they can learn from the mistakes of the past, and so that we can move forward, because we're not a bad side and we're not a bad club. You know.
Yeah, Newcastle will take years as well. They will take years. They're going to take years.
Didn't take Chelsea and City that long. Didn't take Chelsea and City that long.
But the thing is,
do you remember Blackburn, and in what, 94,
95?
They won the Premier League. It happened very, very quickly.
Do you think it's going to happen that quickly with Newcastle? Hand on heart.
They will be able to pay the likes of Erling Haaland £1 million a week if they want, and we just can't compete.
But Haaland will not want to go there.
No, but I'm just saying, do you know what I mean? There'll be players that will go there. It happened with City. I mean, Chelsea were a better club than Newcastle are now. They're still a good cup side in the 90s, don't get me wrong. And they were sort of competing with the top 6, top 7. But it happened pretty quickly. When you've got unlimited pots of money, Mike Ashley's run such a tight ship as well that they've got X amount of kudos with financial fair play. I think they can spend up to 400 million over the next few seasons with the profits that they've turned over. It will happen quicker than you think, lads.
Yeah, but but Frank, who's looking to go there? Like, who's going to be looking to go there right now? They're
what if they get relegated?
Right, there you go. They could get relegated this season.
I'm just saying.
I mean,
all they've got to do is get a Conte in or a Jose Mourinho or a Conte. Jose's still a big name, regardless of what happened at Spurs. They get a big name manager in, they sell a project, they get a proper sporting director in, and they pay astronomical wages. I'm telling you now, top players will go to that club.
I think the top manager will want to go there because they know that they've got a lot of money to spend. They know that Newcastle haven't won trophies for a very long time, even longer than Tottenham. It's a real challenge. It's a real project. And someone like Conte fancies a project, loves money to spend. I can see that happening.
Yeah, but if we look at two players for example, okay, Robinho and Adebayor, two players that were pretty much mercenaries. That went, Robinho went to Man City for the money. He thought he was going Man United until he turned up, and then he had really indifferent performances, like he didn't care because he was getting paid. So there's going to be a lot of players that will go there for the money, but are they really going to care about playing for Newcastle? So it's what I'm saying is yes, I think with the pots and pots of money that they've got, they're going to strike gold at one point. But I think we've got to use the advantage that we have right now, our standing in the league, and show, positive forward playing performances. Show every other player that we're linked with that we're going in the right direction, and it's going to take them a bit of time. They're going to get players like, let's say Alexis Sanchez goes there. Is he going to turn up and set the world alight? I doubt it.
Well, Paul Merson said the other day that they'll sign players like Dele Alli and who was the other one? Lingard.
Okay, cool, wicked. Sweet.
Frank,
can I just say something? Yeah, go on.
Yeah, go on.
No. One of the comments, I think it's Matt G. He said FA Cup was the best day of the year. The league should change the rules. Top three and the winner of the FA Cup go into Champions League. That's what used to happen before with the Cup Winners' Cup, wasn't it? Back in a day. So yeah, I'd have that
all day. Yeah,
all day long, Frank, mate. All day long.
Last question for you all, Frank. Let's start with you. Score predictions for the Vitesse Arnhem game on Thursday in the Europa Conference League. And then, of course, it is the big one. As you said earlier, West Ham Cup final on Sunday. Very important game. We've lost 3 London derbies so far this season. How do you see these games going?
Vitesse, we should beat them. I'll go 3-1 Spurs. West Ham, we've actually got quite a good record at the Olympic Stadium. I've been to the last 2 games with full capacity crowd and we've won both. If I was a betting man, it would be both teams to score. Score draw, Chris. I think West Ham. Score draw.
Anthony, what about you?
What? Vitesse, I think we'll beat them. But Sunday's key for me, mate. Just trying to think. Who hasn't scored for West Ham, Rick? Frank? Who hasn't scored for West Ham? I'm joking.
Do you know who loves a goal against us? Antonio
loves a goal against us. Loves it. I don't know, mate. He's done a decent
job there, though, Anthony, hasn't he, David Moyes?
He's done a good job. Listen, hats off to him. They're playing for him. You saw it today. They just grinded out results, mate. And they're going to be a tough team to try and beat. I'm going. I can't say. I'm going to have to go 2-1 Spurs. I'm going to have to go as if it's like a biggest chore in the world. But 2-1 Spurs.
Rick, what about you?
I can't ever agree with the boys there. I reckon 3-1 against Vitesse and I reckon 2-1 against West Ham.
Who's scoring for West Ham, Rick?
It's going to come off Moyes. I don't know. I don't care. Leave him alone. I don't care. Lanzini will come off the bench, innit? He won't even be in the squad. He'll just come off the bench. Come off quickly, the stands.
Who have they got? Who have they got on Thursday? Because obviously their standard of European competition is harder than theirs and than ours.
I think they've got. Let me have a look. Hold on.
So that might play a factor if the Declan Rice and the big guns are playing, which they predominantly do or have done for their Europa games so far. That could play into our hands.
Probably play their first 11. Yeah, they probably will.
They've got Genk
or thereabouts.
They've got Genk.
Yeah,
do you remember them?
Tough side.
Oh.
Yeah, didn't they beat us?
Tough side.
That was Ghent.
Oh, Ghent.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, yeah. I'm going to go for a draw in Holland, and I'm going to go for a win at West Ham. That might surprise you, but I'll tell you what, it's been a confident time. It's been a good show. Positive, lots of positivity today, which I've really enjoyed. Frank, thanks so much for joining us again.
Thank you, Chris. I love doing these shows, particularly with Ricky and Ant. So thanks for having me on, mate. And I hope all three of you prove me wrong on Sunday and we beat West Ham. Of course I do.
Absolutely. Anthony, thanks so much as always.
Thank you, boys. It's always a pleasure, mate. The dream team. The dream team is together once again. But Lanzini will score. Lanzini will score. He'll come off the bench. Trust me, man. He'll drive He'll drive in the stadium, get his kit out, come on, score, and then walk out again. But we'll still win 2-1.
Ricky, I want to know how much money Anthony's won you over the years with all these tips.
I can't do it. I can't bet against the Spurs, bro. I can't do it. I can't speak against them. I can't bet against them. But I don't know how many times he's been right. I can't stand it when he makes a prediction.
Do you know it's scary how many times he's right, Chris? You know, it's actually scary how many times and he's right about these bewildering goal scorers.
Yeah, it's scary.
I ruined Ricky's night the other night. I just kept texting him going, Romero's been in the team of the week in international duty. He's going to give away a penalty. So-and-so, he's got to score. I said it to Frank as well.
I'm like, leave me alone, Cos. I'm like, leave me alone. Oh.
Well, Rick, as long as all these bets keep you in champagne, eh?
Oh, that's it, mate. That's it. No, again, Chris, thanks for having me on. Always love doing the show. Always a pleasure and an honor. Pleasure and an honor to be on with these two boys, especially after a win. The champagne looks perfectly chilled, so I'm ready to go and have a couple of glasses, my friend. Couple of glasses.
Well, Frank, Anthony, Ricky, thanks so much for joining me, talking about a Tottenham Hotspur win. Let's hope that it is a very good week for Spurs yet again, beating Vitesse Arnhem on Thursday and beating West Ham on Sunday. Wouldn't that just be perfect? Anyway, Spurs are up to 5th and only, 4 or 5 points away from top spot. So it's been a good weekend. Thanks for watching, everyone. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.